All right, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? It is the Lions Den podcast. We coming to you direct. Listen, it is what it is, man. We're going to get it cooking today, okay? There's a lot I want to talk about, okay? I do want to say that we have common guests that's going to be on the show, right? They're going to be on the show. But we've been having some technical difficulties. I got to get with my engineer, and we're going to work everything out, all right? So it ain't going to be just me all the time. But listen, I got some good information. We're going to talk, man. I'm going to give y'all, what I feel like we need to talk about. So much that I feel like, we need to discuss and talk about. So we here, man. It's the Lions Den podcast, unedited, uncut, okay? So, man, it's been a lot going on. I apologize for my listeners. We got listeners in Russia. We got listeners in Canada. We got listeners in LA. We got listeners in Boston. We got listeners in Baltimore. We got listeners everywhere that be waiting every week for me to drop a podcast, okay? And I apologize for the last 2 weeks to where I gotten kind of, not sidetracked. Actually, let me tell you a story. I recorded a whole podcast last week. Went to finish, rounded up, and went to go ahead and, do what I got to do. And lo and behold, for whatever reason, my whole podcast got corrupted. And I could not transfer what I had recorded, what I spent the hour recording. Was I hot? Absolutely. I was very upset. So it happens. So that's that's why y'all didn't get a podcast last week. But I promise y'all, I'm going to give y'all a cooking podcast. We're going to work on it being every week, man. Okay? And we are working on the quality of the sound. We are working on making the podcast better. And just what y'all want to hear. Like, if you want to follow my podcast, if you want to follow my group, go to Facebook and look up the Lions Den podcast. Ask to be a member and spread the word. I'm telling you, we're going to be cooking. The reason why it's called, some people ask me, they say, why you call it the Lions Den podcast? Because when you walk in the Lions Den, it's serious. It's not a game. We talk about everything. So that's why I call it the Lions Den podcast. When you step in the Lions Den, it's not, it's not a game. We talking real talk. We're going to talk, man, we got fun topics. We talking about pop culture. We talking about sports. We talking about politics. We talking about men and women relationships. We talking about faith. We talking about, everything, money, finances, the whole 9 yards. Shout out to all of my fans that's been listening. Shout out to the fans of the podcast that's been listening. Listen, it's going down. So we here. This is the Lions Den podcast. I just want to talk about a little sports. Man, it was, anybody watch the ESPYs? I cringed in my seat when I listened to Peyton Manning give his speech and kind of, ring out Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors. Kevin Durant was not pleased with that at all. And I heard a rumor that they had been saying that they had, got the okay from Kevin Durant. He was okay. Man, when they put the camera on Kevin Durant and then on Russell Westbrook, I was like, oh my gosh. Like I cringed in my seat, man. It was funny. I thought it was funny, but then at the same time, I felt uncomfortable for Kevin Durant. It was just a really awkward moment. But, listen, he made a controversial decision. It worked for him. He got a championship ring. Shout out to KD. Listen, man, I don't like the move you made, but I respect it. You're a grown man. You do what you want to do. I hope it worked out for you. God bless. Apparently it did. But, it's a lot of talks about a lot of things in sports. NBA, Summer League has been phenomenal. I don't know. I've heard some people say, the Summer League, I ain't like, that ain't real talent. Listen, I've seen a level of desperation, man, that those guys play in because everybody ain't going to make the league. Now, you got the guys, the rookies that's coming in. The lottery picks. The lottery picks that's coming in that got guaranteed contracts. Those guys got guaranteed contracts, right? But a lot of those guys in the D League and, just over, in from other countries. They trying to make it in the NBA, man, and it's sad because it's like, you only got 30 teams, and it's like, everybody ain't gonna make it. And you got great talent out there. Some people really, really giving it, cooking, man. And it's unfortunate that everybody ain't gonna make the league, But I've enjoyed the summer league. I don't know if you guys have. I don't know if you guys watch basketball. Summer league. I've really been looking forward to it, and it's kind of giving me a foretaste of what the NBA is gonna look like this year. And man, I'm so excited about that. I'm really excited about the way the NBA is looking, man, this year. I'm a basketball fan. I'm a 2K fan. I got Xbox One S, and I'm really looking forward to 2K18. Call me a big kid if you want. It don't matter. Whatever. I'm looking forward to the NBA this season. The 2017-2018 season is going to be raw. Listen, it's interesting because the first game Lonzo Ball had, everybody criticized him. He shot 2 for 15 from 3-point range. From the field, 3-point range included. He shot horribly, but he still controlled the game. I don't know if anybody watched it, but he still controlled the pace. He controlled the tempo. He had his thumb on the tempo, and that's one of the things about him that I think that when a player has, you cannot teach. He just has the instinct to control the game, to make his teammates better. So everybody ragged him on the first game. Oh, is he a flop? Oh, is he this and that and the other, And it's interesting how everybody's pushing negative energy towards him because they don't like his father. But listen, that's so hypocritical. All of us do things that other people might not necessarily care for. Listen, if you don't like LeVar Ball, when he on the channel, turn it. It's that simple. Stop getting your panties in a knot by, speaking negativity, man. There's so much negativity in the world. Let's get away from that. And then y'all wonder why y'all lives a mess. Y'all wonder why things ain't working for y'all because you spewing so much negativity. Even if you ain't saying it, the negativity that you thinking goes a long way and is hampering where you want to go, what you want to do. Get away from that, man. Come on, y'all. Let's get away from that. Negativity ain't... Let me ask you a question. When has negative thoughts and negative comments and negative feedback ever solved any of the world's problems? I'll wait. It don't solve problems. It just make you feel good for about 2 seconds because you had something to say pertaining to a particular topic or situation. And negativity starts with the mindset. So let's get off that, man. I would rather, if you ain't got, my grandmother used to say, if you ain't got nothing positive to say or good to say, don't say nothing at all. We've gotten so away from that. That's old school. I know that's antique. Everybody got an opinion now. Social media, everybody want to say something about somebody's clothes, somebody's hair, the way they dance, how they look, what they post on social media, how they talk, whatever. It's so hypocritical because what if somebody, what would be cool? I thought about this. What would be popping? If every time we spoke a criticizing or a negative word about somebody or we judge somebody, that there would be something to where, I don't know how this would work, but if we said something negative or it's bad, just negative energy and negative content with, the way we don't like about somebody, and we really voice it, and it really turns into a negative energy. Wouldn't it be interesting if every time we did that there would be 5 things revealed to all the world that we did that nobody knew about? Think about that. That would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it? It probably would stop all of the spewing and, maybe it wouldn't. I think it would kind of stop it. But let's get back to it. Sports, the Summer League. Yo, man, it's been great. Anybody been watching Wimbledon? I've been catching some of the tournaments, in and out of the tournaments. It's interesting because I saw something today that was very fascinating. I know that they had passed a rule that if you were in the tournament, you had to, or if you were a staff member, that you had to that everything had to be all white, including you had to have on, we call them tidy whities. You had to have on tidy whities. You had to have on white underwear, white shirt, white shorts, white socks, nothing colored. Wimbledon rules. So figuratively, I'm saying rules as in rules of how to your dress code as it relates to being a part of Wimbledon staff and playing, and competing. So I thought that was interesting. I think that the law is interesting. The laws that they have, the rules that they have. But listen, it's Wimbledon. If you want to play, that's what you got to do. So I just think that that's fascinating, yeah, so, I caught that. I thought that was cool. But man, the highlight of my summer for sports wise has been, the trades. You got Chris Paul in Houston now. Whew, that dynamic, man. That's going to be special. That's going to be hard to beat. I want you to think about something. People say, oh, they ain't going to be able to beat the Golden State Warriors. Okay. Well, I want you to think about this. They gave the Golden State Warriors, out of the West, they probably gave the Golden State Warriors the most problems, not including Kawhi Leonard being healthy. I want you to think about that. Now, if Carmelo Anthony goes to Houston, that's a huge, huge problem for Golden State. I think they can go 6 games. Golden State would still win because of the firepower and just because of the way that they run their offense. And their defense is quite impressive too. So that's something to think about. But yeah, so a lot of trades been taking place. Boston got some good trades. I'm really excited about Lonzo Ball. Back on Lonzo, I thought it was interesting how, he came back second game, and in the second game and then third game he was out. Everybody said he was scared of De'Aaron Fox. He didn't want to check De'Aaron Fox, whatever. It's interesting because he is almost leading in. I think he is second place in assists, or he might be first place in assists, second place in steals, and in the run for rebounds, and something like that. So I think that's pretty cool. I thought the game where he dropped 36, 11, and 8 was very impressive. What was most impressive about his scoring was that he was able to single-handedly keep the Lakers in the game. And then when it counted the most, he was able to drop key baskets and put the Lakers in a position to win. Now, the free throws were shot by his teammates, but nonetheless, the two teammates sealed the deal, or the teammate that went to I forget the guy's name, who actually got fouled, sealed the deal with the 2 free throws, and boom. But the key shot when he drove and got the and one, that was beautiful. And it put them in a position to win. Without that, they would have lost. There would have been no way for them to win. So I'm really excited about Lonzo Ball. I'm really excited about his potential. I'm really excited about what's interesting. I don't think a lot of people realize is that a lot of these lottery picks haven't played. They were talking about Lonzo Ball particularly, that he still had couch residue on him, which means that he hadn't been in training camp. He hadn't been practicing. He hadn't been working out with anybody. He had a few workouts with the Lakers, but that's it. But, he really was, coming off couch potato syndrome, lazing around. He hadn't been playing ball or whatever. So it's interesting, though. And I think his potential is so huge. I think his ceiling, I don't think there's a ceiling for him. And he has the right people around him. I think that that's key to being successful, with any team, whether it's football, basketball, wherever, whatever, having skills is one thing, having the intangibles is one thing, but being in the right system with the intangibles is another thing. I mean, with Magic Johnson, if you got Magic Johnson, you got Isaiah Thomas, helping to mentor, helping to, kind of, protege him, in his skills and, his skill sets and just things that he's going to need to learn to be a successful NBA player. It's only a matter of time before Lakers become really Showtime again, and I'm excited about that. The way he pushes the ball up the floor, the way that he is able to see the court, see things ahead of time, see things before they happen on the court is phenomenal. I just think that his skill set is just far beyond his years, and I think that, he's only 19 years old. So, the criticism doesn't fit his age or his character. I mean, he's conducted himself, as a class act. He's always talking about his team. He's always talking about, put his teammates in a position to win. The teammates, his team, he's never bringing any attention on himself, and I think that that's phenomenal. And I think that those are some of the trademarks of leadership. So I'm really excited about him. I'm excited about De'Aaron Fox. I'm excited about Josh Tatum. I mean, many of the guys. I'm really excited about Brandon Ingram. I think that Brandon Ingram has matured. I think that his shot has matured. Just seeing him in the summer league, I know you can't judge off that, but just seeing his potential and just seeing what he's able to do already, outside of training camp is, oh man, it's just a beautiful thing to see. And I'm really excited about that. I'm really looking forward to the NBA season. If you guys don't watch basketball, you guys can watch the NBA, man. I think this year is going to be worth watching. A lot of rookies. I'm interested in seeing what Ben Simmons is going to do. I'm interested to see, how that works, how that looks. So, with him on the Sixers and, you got, what's the new point guard? They got Fultz. I'm looking forward to that dynamic, seeing that, and Joel Embiid, that dynamic work. So it's gonna be competitive this year. I'm really excited about that. I'm really looking forward to that. But summer league will be over in a few weeks. I think about a week or two it'll be over, and then they'll be preparing for training camp in like another month from that. But I'm really excited about that. I'm really, 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 really excited about that. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to the NBA season. But listen. The residue, let's switch topics. The residue of Rob Kardashian's relationship with Blac Chyna is still lingering in the air. Yeah, and it's sad because he didn't put himself in a position to win. I don't want to be critical of Rob Kardashian. I could be, but how is that gonna benefit him? And just to do that for talking points? I mean, I'd rather not. I think that, and I said this before, you got to consider something with Rob Kardashian, is that he is around, and he has been around, and he has been overshadowed by very influential women in his life. His mom and his sisters. His father died when he was very young. He's named after his father. So there has never been a strong male figure in his life that he can relate to. And let me tell you what happens when your father is in your life and he's taken from you at a young age. What happens is that the time that you remember your father at the age that he died is where you stop relating to that male figure. So it's easy for us to criticize him and say, oh, he should have known what Blac Chyna was. And, she was a stripper before and this and that and the other. And he got hoodwinked and, what a jerk. And, oh, he did this and that and the other, blah, 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 blah. It's easy for us to say that because we haven't been orientated to his lifestyle or how he was raised. And I can tell you this. Losing a father is one of the most devastating, for me, and I know for a lot of men that had their fathers in their lives, losing your father at a time when you feel like you need him the most is one of the most painful, traumatic experiences that a man developing into, the maturity of true manhood can ever face. So I think, it's easy to criticize when we're on the outside looking in, but I would just want you to consider those thoughts. My prayers are out to, Rob Kardashian. My prayers are out to, Blac Chyna, and I really don't want to, I'm going to be honest, I really don't want to pray for her because I just feel like, she just took advantage of a guy where she saw his vulnerable points, and that's so important, in reference to, who you date. I remember my dad telling me, as a man, you have to realize what's out of your league and what's not. And men know typically when a woman is out of their league, mentally, psychologically, even financially. But our egos get in the way. And we go after who we want. We go after what we want with the hunt that's in us. And that hunt that's in us, listen, you're a man, it's not going anywhere. But you have to learn how to control it, and it has to become mature. Or else it'll run wild, you'll want everything. And that just leads to destructive behavior, So, you know, my heart goes out to Rob Kardashian. I'm compassionate for him. I don't know what he's going through because my life was not orientated that way. Neither do I know Rob Kardashian personally, but I do want to say that my heart goes out to him, and my heart goes out to did he? Let me say this: did he commit an act that was unlawful, or let me say it this way: did he create an act that was out of bounds? Yes. He should not have posted that information about Blac Chyna sleeping with other guys. But pain sometimes manifests itself in different ways. When you're hurt, when somebody hurts you in a relationship, there's so many things that you want to do. So many things you want to say. Your emotions are on fire. And you want to say and do a lot of things. All things are lawful but not expedient. Sometimes, we feel like we have a right to do something because of the way we've been traumatized or hurt. But the end of it all is, is it really worth it? Or do I love myself enough to walk away and heal? Because that's what I truly deserve, So, shout out to those guys. I hope they get it together, even if it's for the sake of the child, So let's hope that all works out and that, truth will prevail and people will heal and move on and forgive. So important in this world to forgive, to learn how to forgive. Even when people do you wrong, to learn how to forgive. So important, so vital. I think that it's absolutely necessary, but, so moving on to the next topic. I don't know if anybody's heard Jay-Z's album. Now listen, there's people listening to this podcast that's not going to particularly care for Jay-Z. I thought his album was phenomenal. I thought his album was worth listening to. Now, what bugs me is that people will hear me talk about Jay-Z. Oh, God, I thought you were a believer. I thought you believed in Jay-Z. I didn't know people like... You know what? Listen. Get over yourself. Okay? Get over yourself. Get over yourself. Really. It ain't that serious. Get over yourself. The album was phenomenal. Let me explain to you why I thought the album was phenomenal. The album was phenomenal because a lot of things that I was talking to somebody about this a little while ago. The things that Jay-Z is bringing up and highlighting on his album, I remember as a child being in church or being around, leaders and pastors. The things that he's talking about, I used to hear in church. Things like being married. The things about, asking you, saying, I don't want you to leave. I apologize. I'm sorry. Forgiveness, asking for forgiveness. Saying that you were wrong as a man to a woman. Being vulnerable in marriage, in relationship. He's talking about finances, taking care of your money, saving, buying property, buying land, buying things that grow in value so that you can pass these things along to your kids. He's talking about forgiveness. He's talking about love, learning how to love, learning how to be a man. He's talking about his kids and, the image that he's leaving his kids and the mistakes that he's made that his kids will find out about. These are things that I used to hear in the house of God. I used to hear in church when I was growing up. I don't know when the last time I've heard a message or a series with these things. Now, I'm not saying that these things are not being taught in your local church. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the essence of those things were taught in the local church. And those things were bedrock foundational messages that help to build strong men, strong families, and a firm foundation to which families can grow and advance and mature And so that people can live happy lives as family. People can live, lives that were, that are, wholesome, and well. He talks about in his album how, he learned about being a man from, the OG on the street corners. And he told him about, he gave a story about how, the OG told him, if you do this, you take her to this restaurant, and you got an appetizer at this restaurant, that's what, this you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to act like this and talk this way or whatever. It was fascinating how he just owned up to all of that, and how all of those things were misconceptions, and how he really, and one thing that really that really stuck out to me in reference to, his album is that he said that him and Beyonce began to talk, and he said to her, he said, you know what, if this is going to work, we're going to have to be, if there's any wall up, this is not going to work. He said, we're going to have to be naked, truthful, honest, if this is really going to work. He said, or it's not going to work. I thought those are value, those are quality values. But you know what's funny? You know what's so funny? We are so hypocritical. We are the biggest, we're just hypocritical as people. Because a lot of people, if it ain't a certain person saying certain things that are right, they don't want to hear it. But if it's a certain if it's Jay-Z saying, oh, nobody wants to look at how he did that. You remember when he did that? You remember when he said that he uses the B word on it? He that's without sin, cast the first stone. You sinless? Oh, you Jesus. So you without sin. Let me remind everybody of something. The only person that was born on this earth that was without sin his whole life was Jesus. Fully God and fully man. That's it. Everybody else, you got junk in your trunk. You got junk in your trunk. Pastor, you got junk in your trunk. Teacher, you got junk in your trunk. Doctor, you got junk in your trunk. Everybody got junk in their trunk. Let's be real. Let's be real. Can we be real? Because I know that nowadays, being fake and being phony and putting on a mask and telling people how great your life is on social media, come on. Everybody's life is never great all the time. Let's stop playing these games and be for real. Our kids are watching. Children in the neighborhood are watching. Younger couples are watching. People are watching. And they're looking for an example of authenticity that they can relate to. Because when they go through storms and they feel like, who can I trust? Who can I talk to? If you appear in lily white all the time, they're going to struggle to share anything with you. Anything with you. We got to be real. Nobody's perfect. So let's let Jay-Z off the hook, please. Who knows what he's doing at night? Who knows if he's crying out to God, asking God to show him how to be a better person, how to be a Christian, how to follow Jesus? We don't know. We don't know. We just judge by what we think we know. And I make a statement all the time. It is a foolish individual to make judgments off of fragmented information. We do it all the time. It's interesting because you can see somebody in a baseball cap, sneakers, gold fronts, and a chain around their neck, and you would immediately get a perception about how this person is. And you could begin to either be withdrawn or begin to strike up a conversation. And what intelligent people do is, you want to find out about somebody? Ask them. Talk to them. See what they're like. And then make a judgment from there. But when you make judgments off of, fragmented information, then you're just as foolish as anybody else that you deem foolish. Let's not do that. Let's turn over a new leaf. Let's begin to show that we're flawed to, that we've made mistakes to, that we're screw ups to. That sometimes we want to do the right thing, but in the midst of doing the right thing, we want to do the wrong thing. And sometimes we do the wrong thing and we know it's wrong. You know, it's so easy to get prideful and get full of ourselves and say things and comment on things when we feel like we're on top and we're crossing every T and dotting every I. But oh, dear one, you've been deceived. You've been deceived. You've been hoodwinked by your own ideologies about yourself that are just not true. None of us are perfect. And this is one thing that I make this disclaimer all the time. I talk about this all the time. Listen, if you're looking for the perfect man, there's many things that I was born to do. There's things that I've been called to do. But if you're looking for the perfect man to do that job out of me, go and look somewhere else, because I ain't perfect. I ain't got it right. I got it wrong. That's why I ask the big man upstairs. You know, it's interesting. Some people get offended when I say the big man upstairs. Why you don't call him God? Why you don't call him Jesus? You know, let me share with you a quick scripture. There's a scripture that says, he who winneth souls is wise. Wise. So he who winneth people is wise. Meaning that if I'm used to a particular lingo if I'm used to using a particular lingo around a particular type of people, when I get around people who don't use that particular type of lingo and I'm trying to win them over, the reality is I'm going to lose those people because they cannot relate to my conversation and how I dialogue. Capiche? Hope that makes sense. We got to begin to tear down these walls that we've created. If we want to win people, if we want to touch people, if we want to change the trajectory of the way that the world is going, we have to tear down the walls that we've created. And let me say this. I consider myself a Christ follower, right? But I ain't better than nobody that ain't no Christ follower. And you know, I know that felt yucky to a lot of people, but I really ain't no better. The only thing that makes me shine bright is him that's in me and me pursuing him and asking him for help every single day. Because the truth of the matter is we all need his help. I don't know anybody on this earth breathing on their own. I don't know anybody else, create their own air. I don't know anybody else like that. Nobody creates their own air. Nobody creates their own. You get it from the big man upstairs, from God. He gives you life to breathe and to live every day. It's called the breath of life. So nobody's lily white. So let's stop playing the game. Let's stop playing the game. Let's stop it. Because you run people away and you don't know it. You don't realize it. When we act a certain way or we carry on a certain way. Do you think, I told somebody that this really broke my heart. I heard a conversation the other day and somebody was talking about, they got on the topic of Christianity and they said, I'll never step foot in the church. They said, I got these tattoos on me and, last time I went in church, they looked at me like I was funny and then they tried to change their attitude and say, oh, you're welcome here. And, the individual could see right through it and it really bothered them and it put a bad taste in their mouth. And out of that bad taste, they had to discuss for church. And now you have people who think that, this is, the church doesn't accept me. Thinking that Jesus was like this. Jesus sat with common people. Jesus didn't sit with preachers. He didn't even hang with preachers. The disciples weren't preachers. He hung with his friends. Oh man, I can see the faces now. He hung with his friends. He hung with his friends and he talked about his father with his friends. And his friends were so drawn to him talking about his father that they wanted to meet his father. And Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Isn't that interesting? He didn't say if you go to church and you join the best church that shout the best, talk about me the best, and read their Bible the best, and pray the best, you'll see the Father. He didn't say that. He didn't even hint to that. He said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Another topic for another day. But I am not better than anybody. If you are an atheist and you listen, I welcome you to this podcast. If you are homosexual, I welcome you to this podcast. I don't shun on homosexuals. I don't shun on sexual difference. Because at the end of the day, let me say something that's unpopular. At the end of the day, it is your body and it's your choice. And that may rub people the wrong way, but at the end of the day, you do what you want to do with your body. And some people say, oh, I don't. My body is a temple, my body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. And, I don't do what I want with my body. You don't do everything that God tell you to do with your body all the time. Let's stop playing these games. If we would stop playing these games and be real with people and tell people, I am not the perfect example that you can see Jesus through. I just choose to believe in him. And he's working on me every day. But let me tell you about him, though, and begin to explain. I don't believe in the concept of or in the teaching that if you claim to be a Christian and you're living any kind of way, people, you turn people away from God. If people encountering God or coming to church or being a part of becoming a Christ follower is contingent on me, oh man, that's not a good idea. That's not a good move. Because I'm flawed. I try to do the best I can, but I'm flawed. That's why he's working in me continuously to perfect those things concerning me. That's another topic. I'm going to get off that. I had to hit you with that, though. And let me say this. Whether you receive it or not, he loves the homosexual. He loves the atheist. He loves the Satanist. He loves the agnostic. He loves everybody. Isn't that interesting that God doesn't love you based on how you feel about him? He doesn't. His love is not based on how you feel about him at all. He loves you. And he created you for a divine purpose, to fulfill that purpose and to affect the world. Did you know that everybody listening on this podcast, you were created for a unique assignment that only you can do the way that you do it. And because you are living on this earth right now, and you begin to discover and awaken to purpose and destiny and assignment, the world and the complexion of the world begins to change because you are in it and you are in pursuit of your purpose. That is a fact and a truth. The world can't move forward unless you pick up what you've been purposed to do and get busy doing it. You may feel like you were born to be a veterinarian. You may feel like you were born to be a doctor. And these are gifts. These are gifts. that the big man gives us, that the man upstairs gives us. These are gifts of life that he gives us. So God ain't gonna give you nothing crazy. There's no such thing as, I feel like I was born to be, a serial killer or something like that. Every good and perfect gift comes from above. Every good and perfect gift comes from above. So remember that. Okay, I'm gonna get off that. Listen, I'm getting ready to do a podcast with Jason F. He just dropped an EP 2 days ago. And man, wow, was it powerful. Great album. I'm so proud of this guy. I talked to him today. We begin to talk about business and, making moves and, things that, we're purposed to do. And he's really excited about, doing more podcasts. And I'm excited to have him. So you guys are going to be hearing from him real soon and a lot more often. This is the Lions Den Podcast. We are here, direct and live, coming to you. And listen, we got to get our finances together, people. We got to get our finances together. If you're giving 10% to a charity or to a church, we got to start giving 5 to 10% back to us. We got to start saving. We got to start taking care of our finances. And I'm telling you, I love to spend money. I love buying things. But we got to get that together. That's one of the things Jay was talking about in his album. We got to get this money thing right so that we can begin. And listen, I was getting ready to say, so we can begin to leave legacy for our kids. But money is not legacy. Because you can leave your child $20 million and him be visionless, him be purposeless. So yes, legacy does include finances and wealth, but can wealth be valued by money? I'll let you answer that. Can wealth, that's the homework. Can wealth be valued by money? I want some answers. Put some answers on the group, the Facebook group. Can money be can legacy be valued by finances? These are the things we need to talk about. We need to talk about, wills. We need to have wills. So when something happens, there's a will, there's an estate that people know this is where the money goes. Daddy had this house. Daddy had this building. Daddy bought land over there. This belongs to you. Let's start creating wills, guys. And if we don't know, ask. Ask around. Get information. Let us be more accountable of where our money is going. We got to be more accountable of where our money is going. Got to be more accountable. But real quick, I just want to talk about oppression real quick. Because I feel like a lot of us have been under an oppressive canopy for so long that we've become used to it. We're in oppressive jobs. We're in oppressive relationships. We're in oppressive situations. And we've gotten so comfortable being there that our mind is just fried as it relates to, escaping or getting away or getting a fresh start. Listen, don't let fear control your life. Don't let fear control your life. You were not born to be the recipient of oppressive behavior. Let's break away from that. Let's get free from that. Let us rise up and say, I deserve to be free. I deserve to be fulfilled in life. Purpose fulfills us. The things that are in our heart that we begin to go after, that we begin to see in our own life, that we can dream again. Dreaming is just like breathing. There's something fresh about it. There's something new about it. that will take us from that dream state into manifesting reality of us actually seeing things happen. We need to dream again. What are some things that you used to dream about doing? Some of the things that you dream about, the first thing that people ask me this all the time, about vision, purpose, assignment. Listen, the first thing that you need to start with is getting a notebook and start writing down what you like, what you love, and what you would do if you never got a dime to do it. Start there. The second step is pray about it. Talk to God about it. About the dreams in your heart. Be careful who you share your dreams with. Don't share them with everybody. Everybody ain't for you. There's people that smile in your face. All the while they want to take your place. The backstabbers. Curtis Mayfield. Everybody that smile in your face. Smile with you. Oh, hey, how you doing? They ain't your friend. Some people want to take your place. Some people want to take your place. Some people want your woman. Some people want your man. Some people want your life. Some people want your dreams. That's another topic for another time. And we're going to begin to talk about that. We're going to begin to talk about jealousy and envy and how those things grows into, malice and, envy and hatred and, comparing yourselves among each other. And, it's interesting because you can tell a person or people with no vision, no purpose. One of the tall tell signs is jealousy. Listen, our purpose is so unique and so vast and so powerful and so great that if you really knew the reality of it, you would laugh at yourself at the very thought of being jealous of another person's progress, what they've done, their accomplishments. You would be embarrassed. It's the Lions Den podcast. Listen, we coming back to you next week. You'll hear from us, all right? Keep your head up. Stay focused. Don't quit. It's not the time for you to quit. The very fact that you're still breathing is the indicator that you got enough life in you to keep going. Get away from the negativity, negative voices, negative people. Get away from them. Cut them off, even if it's family members, and move forward. It's time for you to live. It's time for you to let go. It's time for you to progress. It's time for you to advance. It's time for you to fly high. It's time for you to elevate. Let's go. It's the Lions Den podcast. Coming to you soon. We'll talk to you later.